everyone, it's me, Leonie. Welcome to Lounging with Leonie. This is a different kind of episode today. As you can see, I am by myself on the lounge, no guest, but I do have the voice of Big Brother watching me. Oh my
Hello,
God.
everybody.
Welcome to the Big Brother house. I
You
thought
have 5 seconds to leave the house.
Oh shit! But I didn't pack my bags. I thought that I would do a different kind of episode because, it can be very tiring having guests all the time on the lounge and having to be on the ball all the time. Today, I wanted to reflect on the podcasts that I've done so far and I guess how I feel about it, where I want to take it, and I want to criticize my performance. I'm already sweating.
And it's a good opportunity for me to play with the new camera setups.
So for those of you who don't know, Big Brother has been a reoccurring guest on my podcast since the very beginning. And the light is very warm. I feel like I need like a fan. I just realized maybe I don't like it when the attention is all on me. Maybe I do need a guest. Are we still testing? Is this still a test?
No. So tell us how has your experience been since you started your podcast from the very beginning?
From the very beginning. Well, the whole reason why I wanted to start a podcast was because I thought that it would be easier kind of content to make as opposed to like doing weekly videos that I did last year. I thought, doing a podcast will mean that I get more time to live my life outside of just creating content. But I realized that it's actually a lot more work and a lot harder because obviously if you've got guests on, you have to think about what kind of topics you'd like to talk with your guest about. You have to do a bit of research. You have to make sure that they're available. And then often, when you actually do the recording of the podcast, it usually goes on for way longer than you anticipate. And then you get like this mammoth of a video file that you have to edit. And then I feel like podcasts don't generally appeal to a lot of people because it is like long form content. And if you're like me, who has the attention span of a goldfish, sitting and listening to a podcast for, over 40 minutes can be quite boring. And I felt like I was boring myself.
So essentially you started doing this podcast because you were too lazy to create content.
Pretty much. But also I thought that it would be a good way to also, get better at talking to people. But at the same time, so I thought that I would start out like having conversations with people, but I feel like it turned out more like I was just interviewing people, if that makes sense. Like I would ask a question and then they would like take 5 minutes to answer. And then it wasn't really a conversation. It was just me asking people questions.
So what are the things you feel like you've improved or picked up on that you've gained from doing the podcast?
Like I feel accomplished that I have done so many episodes already. So that for one is a big tick. And in terms of skills, learning how to set up the whole studio space and the microphones and the headsets and just even like building out my set. I learned a lot from that.
Can you bring the mic down, up and out around your chin? Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, try that.
Okay.
And then lean in.
See, things like this I'm still learning how to do.
Yeah.
So it's like also the technical aspects.
Why don't you push the mic up but keep the arm down? Does it make sense?
Push the mic up.
That's it.
Keep the arm down. Push the mic up. Keep the arm down.
And then bring it in closer towards you.
Like this.
Yeah, and then bring it up.
Like that.
Yeah, a bit more.
I'm very good
that's perfect.
I'm very good at listening to instructions. But yeah, technical stuff, like that's a lot of learnings. Even when I'm like interviewing or talking to guests, a big thing that Big Brother has told me about is like, stop saying like, yeah, 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 every time they like talk and just like keep silent.
Were you as nervous as the beginning?
No, I think the beginning was a lot because I didn't know what to expect. And I think as we progressed, I started realizing like, oh, I've done this before. I got this. But I think there's still like heaps more to learn and to improve on. Like I still feel socially awkward sometimes. And I still feel like I need prompts to help me carry on the conversation, which is why sometimes I have like interview questions, which I don't think is actually good because then it does become more like interviewee style. But yeah, my brain doesn't work very fast.
Well, I think that's the point of doing it. It's that you become better at having a conversation rather than an interview.
Yeah, I know. But that in saying that, like I've learned so much from my guests as well. Like we've had a lot of cool guests come on, climbing coaches and career coaches. So I've learnt a lot from them.
I think the easiest part is because you kind of know them in somewhat form or another.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier for you to have a conversation or ask the questions.
Yeah.
But I can imagine as you progress, you keep improving, and especially if you have some strangers, that's how you learn how to have a conversation.
True that. Yeah, I think if it was a stranger that was like if they were to come on to the podcast and to the lounge, I would definitely struggle a lot more, maybe.
So let's say if Jimin
Oh my god.
come on the show.
I don't I I would be so flustered and I'll be like, all right, everyone cut the cameras. It's just me and Jimin alone in a room. That would be the dream if Jimin. I can't. No, that will probably never happen, but that's okay.
But let's just take that for an example. Maybe not as someone as popular and
Yeah.
celebrity, but still someone you look up to that will come along. How do you deal with your nerves and how do you flow the conversation?
It would be good to like catch up with them before the show and before the live recording, just so I can get a general gist of their vibe instead of like going in completely cold.
So what are you looking forward to next in this podcast series? And what do you aim to gain more out of it?
I feel like I don't always need to have a guest come on to the show as well, because there is a lot of stuff that I want to talk about personally that I feel like wouldn't, like it's hard to find a specific guest to talk about these things with, and with somebody who, I feel completely comfortable with. So I want to do more of these kind of episodes as well. So that's definitely something that I want to do.
So maybe we throw it out to your audience and see what topic should Leonie discuss and ask her opinions and point of views.
Because I'm so important. Because my point of view totally matters. Yeah. I think there's a lot like there's a lot of things that I'm very passionate about that I would like to explore, especially things like mental health and BTS.
That's it.
Yeah.
Dot.
And also like I have being Asian, there are lots of things that affect me identity wise. And I would like to talk more about cultural and racial things as well.
Let's break it down and lay out the key topics. So you want to talk about mental health?
Yes.
What specific about mental health you want to talk about?
Things like the stigma around particular mental health issues and, seeking help, and also the barriers when it comes to seeking help. Especially I feel like in Asian families and Asian communities, there's such a huge stigma around like, oh, if you have a mental health issue, like don't talk about it because it will bring shame to your family or something. And I think my generation of Asians are starting to, I guess, like open up more to the idea that, having mental health issues isn't something to be ashamed about, and you can talk about it and you can be open about it with your friends and family. But I still feel like there is still a lot of stigma, especially in those Asian communities. So that's something that I really want to explore further. And obviously, we have a lot of experience in that, having gone through things in our family as well.
And what about BTS? What more can there be discussed?
What do you mean? What more can there be discussed about BTS? There's
They will
always
never
more.
win the Grammy.
Seriously, it's unbelievable, unfathomable how the biggest boy group in the world is being treated like they're nothing at the Grammys. Like, I don't know. How do they even judge who wins a Grammy or not? Do you know?
This is good because it kind of reflects to the next topic we're interested or you're interested, which is Asian identity in the Western culture. And
Yes.
so BTS is a perfect leadway into it.
Exactly.
You could do a lot of deconstruction there.
I definitely want to deconstruct BTS.
We'll start with Jimin first.
So Jimin, he's just like perfect. But also like BTS and like the whole K-pop industry in general and K-pop groups, they're totally breaking down a stereotype. A lot of Asian cultures, there is this like, oh, men have to be, masculine or whatever and, do masculine things. But a lot of the K-pop boy groups are breaking that stereotype and that gender.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I think what happens is you have a very fringes of Western society who's looking for something different, and BTS has happened to fit into that. So if you look at the majority of like Australian, maybe like 2% who have probably heard of BTS, and maybe like 0.5% who are sort of interested in BTS, and 0.01% who's obsessive about BTS in your case. But when combined globally, right,
Yeah.
with how many billion people on the planet, that is a lot of people. But
Yes.
from a Western perspective, it is still a very niche corner.
But
So-
you
so I've-
only have to look at the numbers, right?
That's my point. It's like you take the 0.5% people who listen to BTS around the world combined from each country, that makes the majority who listens to more than Justin Bieber's music or etc. etc. But in the grand scheme of things, in the Western context, most people who listens to Grammy music in America, still it's only like 1 or 2% who listen to it, and maybe one or two songs that it's mainstream, but it's still not hardcore enough, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, then are you just saying that people who do love K-pop are just very passionate about K-pop? And that's why we're making such big...
And I think there's two scenarios too, where you either like them or hate them or not interested in them. And I would say if you're like, let's say you go out to the street of Australia or any Western country and you do a statistic by 1,000 people, you might get 10 people who goes, yeah, I like BTS. The rest of them will be like, nah. But those 10 peoples from Sydney, from all around the world combined, outnumbered. You know what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah.
So to me, that's why there is still this stigma towards Asian identity, how it's being represented in the Western media. And there's a unfortunate bias towards it. And I don't think that will ever get wiped out.
So I read the comments on like social media posts and like news posts that people do on BTS, and then in the comments there's always someone that's like, oh, why do they look like girls? You know what I mean?
Yeah, precisely. And I think predominantly a lot of people would say that same thing.
So then like they're just not open-minded. Full stop.
It's just human nature.
Because it's like, it's not only like they look different to what we, might think how males should look. That's one. There's, this perception that K-pop is manufactured. That's two. And like not authentic. And then number three, it's also a different language. So there's already quite a few.
Yeah, I think
things that are
you've
different.
touched a good point. It comes down to another topic, which is about having perspective. What I mean by perspective is, once I could see it as manufactured music, overproduced content, the other side could see as extremely hardworking.
Yes.
So perspective matters, right?
But that's the thing, the whole like it being overproduced, that in itself is pretty cool in its own way because, yeah, they do work hard to make this product, right? And then it's so successful. And I think that's why I am so intrigued by it.
Maybe because that's the Asian excellence. You know, we must always be at the best of our game.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of Asians do a lot of things for themselves and for the recognition, if that makes sense. But they also do it, like BTS and stuff, they do it for their fans. And in a way, their fans have also helped to create BTS. Like, BTS work hard, the army works harder.
I can tell you it'll just be a matter of time to see what the real outcome is. Basically what I'm saying is when you have fringes of people combining together, that's a lot of people, you know, and they are very passionate people who will get involved. But then, again, it's still very, very fringes, you know what I mean?
That being said, I feel like there is definitely, they're gaining traction and they're gaining more recognition.
But remember, you are in your own bubble too.
Yeah, but I mean, if you see like what is being, like Squid Games, for example, a Korean TV show, Netflix show, has become increasingly like it was so popular. And then like the actress from Squid Games is now in The Weeknd's music video. I feel like there is a bit of a shift happening and more recognition is being given to, you know, Asian artists and creators.
I think it's just being cool. It's the woke time to have throw some Asians in. But now I've been seeing Filipinos are not being represented.
True, it's just Koreans, right?
Yeah. What about the Malaysians and Indonesians
and the Chinese,
the Vietnamese and the Thai and yeah.
That's true. But I mean, Korea is so good at exporting their culture.
I think that's what the rest of the Asian country needs to do to learn how to export their culture,
Yeah.
aside from food.
Yeah.
That way, people can understand the other side. But it's hard when there's a stigma towards Asian invasion constantly.
That's true. I mean, like a good, perfect example of that is the Billboard Music Awards. I think it was last year, created a whole new category just for best K-pop instead of like putting K-pop artists in the best pop category, which is ridiculous to me because like what makes K-pop K-pop, right?
Well, it's the same argument as when Parasite won the best picture rather than the best foreign film for the Academy Award. So that's a big deal.
So then, yeah, why?
So in that instance, what you're saying is it's not only the best K-pop, but they're also the best music or whatever.
Yeah, they're just the best. Yeah, like I think it's insane. Like what classifies as international?
But
is it just because it's not in
you
English?
got to bear in mind who are the, Grammy Award voters,
Isn't it just like rich white people?
Ho, 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 ho. Are we going there now?
Well, maybe not all white, but definitely rich and privileged in some way, right?
Well, maybe another perspective. What if it's the other way around?
Well, I feel like if you go to like countries, especially Southeast Asia, like Indonesia and Malaysia and stuff, a lot of people there already embrace a lot of Western culture. Like Justin Bieber and Miley Cyrus and everyone, they're already very popular in Southeast Asia, right? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to like, is it Asian invasion?
I think that's, if you take it from the other perspective, that's how they feel, right? So let's say if we live in Asian country and the town that we're in is predominantly white people suddenly.
Yeah.
Or, things are shifting. I think it's just by human nature. The question is how do we live harmoniously without fear?
But also when somebody deserves recognition for their hard work and talent, they should be given that recognition. And in the case of BTS, they should have won the bloody Grammy.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the decision wasn't up to them. Like it's made by people who might have a different lens on it.
Well, then people need to
Change their contact lenses.
exactly. They need to broaden their perspective.
So what's opposite to whitewashing?
Opposite of whitewashing, isn't that like yellow fever? Yellow washing? What's that?
Yellowish.
Is yellow washing a completely different meaning?
Let me just Google that. Okay, so there is an urban dictionary. It says when you're in a small bathroom and pretend that you're a human dishwasher by spinning around while peeing in your pants around your ankle. So that's what the urban dictionary means.
That's
Now, on Reddit, there is a topic which is what do you think about yellow washing of Japanese live action adaptations of anime in Japanese? So yellow washing is basically whitewashing then, if that's the phrase they're talking about, right?
I guess so.
So no matter what color you want to wash, it's going to turn into white.
Yeah.
That's the moral of the story.
Because white supremacy.
No, it's called bleach.
Yeah, I don't know. This whole topic of race and culture is very interesting.
I mean, the question is, does it impact your daily life, or it's just it impacts your perception because of what's happening around the world and the media?
I haven't felt it directly impact my life, but I definitely feel like it makes me aware of a lot of the cultural narratives that are going on in the world.
And do you have any thought about what might happen out of these cultural narratives that's constantly giving us?
Well, I mean, I definitely feel like there is this narrative of East versus West. And I think there are other narratives that are definitely trying to help see it from a different perspective. So I think like a lot of the things that are happening, like coming out of Korea, like a lot of the Korean culture that's being exported is helping to like, here's the good stuff, you know? Asians aren't all bad.
I'm curious to see what's the dark side of Korean culture too. Let me give you an example, right? The beginning of the COVID, when China locked down its population and started giving its population tracking apps, you know?
Yeah.
It's called, what do they call it? They call it a authoritarian, what's another word they describe? It's such a used term now, I just can't think of it.
Mind control.
Mind control.
The Chinese government is
COVID,
controlling my brain.
China. Anyway, my point is then Korea did the same thing,
Right.
but then it has a different narrative to how Korea does it. It's like, oh, Korean are keeping the COVID under control. So the reporting,
Yeah.
the language used is extremely different, even
Yeah.
though the action's the same.
So then there's also like a disparity between what kind of Asian is the good Asian.
Very valid point.
So we like this type of Asian, but we don't like this Asian.
Is it purely because of the political ideology?
Probably. But also there's a lot of factors that come into play if we're talking about how, you know, the West has this negative narrative of China. I mean, if you look at things like economics and economic competition, there's a reason why they would want to be making China an enemy. But I mean, yeah, it's a huge topic, which we should discuss in a future episode, I think.
I kind of feel like BTS fits into that narrative.
Into the narrative of competition.
Yeah.
True, it is. They're afraid of BTS winning. They're afraid of Asians being good and beating everybody else. No, but it's like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's how I've been brought up is that we do our work, we work hard, right? And we don't bring attention to ourselves, like being the quiet, hard worker. And I think, you know, once we actually...
It's time to stand up.
Yeah, once we stand up and actually showcase what we can do and we start winning things, people get...
But they don't want you to win.
Yeah, they want you to sit back down and be quiet, and then they can take all the recognition for themselves.
That's what happened to BTS.
Exactly.
And not only take recognition, but use them.
Yeah. But like if you see how many like awards BTS has won in their lifetime. It's like over 500 awards or something like that.
Yeah, but it's all in Asia.
But what makes Asia awards less than American awards, Western awards?
Anyway, on a high note,
Yes. On a high note, BTS is awesome, and that's all anyone should know. They win my award. It's undeniable that BTS is definitely making some sort of change out there in the music industry. And Hybe, like their company, they freaking like bought out Justin Bieber's label.
see, Asian knows how to dominate.
Exactly.
Just buy them out. Asian invasion.
No, it's
Part
time.
two.
It's time for it. It's time for something different in the world.
I call it friendly financial invasion.
Friendly financial invasion. I mean, isn't that what Westerners do as well? They just bribe people off.
That's a very sensitive political topic.
Well, I think the moral of the story is there is no good or bad. Everyone is just bad.
Well, I think this is where we need to look at the positive, right? For the last, 2-3 years, how many Asian movies are out? You know, that's just the beginning. Hopefully we'll get some more.
Oh, you know what movie I really loved? What's the one that Aquafina is in?
It's a drama, right?
Yeah, the one with the grandmother.
I haven't seen it, but you've said you've seen it.
I saw it and I cried. And I just remember thinking like, wow, I finally feel represented.
Farewell, the farewell.
Yes, that one, The
It's
Farewell.
about the grandma having cancer, right?
Yes, definitely recommend watching that.
So, what other topic that you want to think about for this year? I mean, I'm sure there's none end to BTS discussion.
Oh, there'll be so much BTS discussion. What else? I don't know. Life things, travel things.
When will you get to travel again?
I am planning to go to South Korea in November.
Reach out to all your South Korean friends and make some friends now.
Hi, South Korean friends. Please
Let's be
show me
friends.
around. Take
And
me
then-
around Korea.
And then get her a Jimin.
Give me a Jimin. I'm going to go to South Korea. I'm going to track down Jimin. I'm going to bring Jimin home with me.
Are you trying to kidnap him?
No, that's not what I'm trying to... I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. And then...
Yeah, wrap it out.
Wrap it up. Rap. Yo, my name's Leonie. I can't rap for shiz. Yo. But yeah, I am excited to see where this podcast goes. I am excited to insert more of these solo episodes with the voice of Big Brother into the mix. Excited to have more guests come in as well. Excited to talk about BTS. And yeah, let's see where it goes. Thank you so much for everyone who has already kind of supported me on the journey thus far. Thank you to all my guests who have been on the show as well, and for going into the deep end with me. Definitely been a learning experience, and yeah, there's only upwards to go from here.
We are missing an important part of your segment.
Is it the ASMR segment?
Yes, it is.
I don't have any snacks. I have tea. I made myself a brew of tea. It is dandelion coconut. It's organic and gluten-free. That is disgusting.
What, the tea?
Yeah.
Describe the taste.
It tastes like really rotten chocolate and coconut.
It's the white people's tea.
Yeah, I need like oolong. Oh. Oolong is my favorite tea. I'll remember to bring a snack next time. For now, you just have to be satisfied with my horrendous tea slurping. But yeah, thank you so much for listening and watching this episode, and I will catch you in the next one. Thank you, Big Brother, for being the voice of Big Brother.
No worries. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
What?